What is up, you guys? It's James from James Reptiles, and I know at the beginning of the video you saw that little disclaimer. That's something I'm trying out. There's a lot of protocols and new stuff coming out with the FTCA and the COPA with all the child-friendly videos, and of course my videos. I'm not going to say they're child-friendly. There's evidently going to be, some language that's probably not good for kids. We're going to be talking about animals and breeding. And I know people are going to get upset if I say that's for kids. And at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that because we are working with animals and kids do like animals, these videos are not meant for kids, and I'm trying to portray that in a way that's obvious and doesn't get anybody fined, because there are big fine potentials if you claim to not be for kids, but you put childlike stuff in your videos. So I'm just putting this out there. And you'll probably end up seeing it at the beginning of every video. I might tweak it a little bit, I might change it up, we'll see what happens. But for now, it's here to stay. This right here is my ball python, Steve. Steve is a male normal ball python given to me by my girlfriend's family. When she moved in, they said, you know what, here, take this snake. And I said, I'll treat him like one of the family. He's never going anywhere. I do have a ball python I'm trying to sell. I'm not trying to sell. I think I'm just going to give it to my friends, to some of my friends, but this guy's not going anywhere. And so a couple little updates. The gargoyles right here, I don't know if that's in frame, but they're in that tank up there. I currently have a Eco-Earth cocoa block soaking, so it'll break apart. Those ones you put it in the water, in a bucket of water, and you let it soak and it absorbs all the water and it breaks apart, it's all condensed. I have one of those soaking. I'll be able to fill a Tupperware with it, cut my hole, drill my hole, whatever, and it'll be a lay box for that female. And I think she's gonna end up laying, within a week or two. Hopefully within a week or two. It'd be pretty kick butt to get some gargoyle eggs going. Of course, I'm gonna hold back whatever they are for as long as I can, make sure I get hopefully a female out of the first clutch, raise that up. It'll be a while, but raise that up, maybe end up selling a male and buying a new male with that money, and then he's not related to those two, and it'll just keep going from there, just like I did with my crested geckos. My crested geckos are blowing up. I've got these guys, I've got these guys. Neither of these are related to the dad, so that's perfectly fine. And eventually, I'll switch some of them out. I don't want to have just a million crested geckos. I like to slowly refine it when I have some females get up to size. Okay, like this one's nicer, and it's breeding size. This one just laid eggs, so I might as well just switch them out right now, or something along those lines. And along with that, I am slowing down my mice production. Not necessarily forever. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, it's a little heavy, these tubs right here. I give them little chewing blocks in with the food, and these right here are just little rodent treats I just had because I used to breed rats and try to tame them a lot. So I just been giving it to my mice. I gave the last couple ones all of it just to get rid of it, so there's a lot in there. But I currently only have 2 tubs. One has 4 females without any males. I'm giving them time to rejuvenate. I have a couple really young ones in there I want to raise up. I got rid of a lot of stuff that I didn't like. There's a lot of stuff you don't notice that gets passed on, and that's chewing water bottles, throwing bedding out of the cage, potentially eating the pinkies, eating other females' pinkies. That does happen, that does get passed on, and that can spread in your colony if you don't watch it. So I kept 4 females. Actually, I have this 5th female. She's so fat, I'll get some footage of her, I'll put it on screen. But yeah, she's so fat, she's gonna have babies, today or tomorrow, tonight or probably tomorrow. And the reason I cut back is I had 5 of these tubs. I'm gonna cut it back to 1 or 2, I'm not quite sure yet. I guess it depends on her babies. And yeah, it just depends on her babies, I guess. But I have 4 of my 11 snakes going into brumation. Do I have 11? 1, 2, 9, 11. 12 if you count my girlfriend's baby corn snake. Pardon me. Um, and of course, 4 of those are going to brumation, but those 4 happen to be the subadult yearling corn snakes that eat the most food. I would reckon they eat almost twice as much as all the other snakes combined each week, just because they're so likely to take seconds, whether it be because they're corns or they're trying to grow, rather than the king snakes often refuse and won't even take it off the tongue. So you offer one, you come back and they ate it, sure, but there's no way they're going to take a second one, and it's just a process. But the corn snakes will always take multiples off the tongue. It's great for trying to get them up to size to breed them, but I've got so much overstock in my freezer right now that I don't need to be breeding mice on a big scale. And I said, you know what? Sat down and I thought to myself, why don't I slow it down, save myself money on food, bedding, time for taking care of all of these. It's a lot easier to take care of 2 tubs than it is 5. And I can get rid of some of that overstock in the freezer, so none of it ends up getting freezer burn and goes to waste. It's all used up, and you know, you don't want any, they're live animals that you have to euthanize. You don't want them to go to waste. So I want to make sure I do that and get them all taken care of. Now, we'll be getting a new fish tank here. I know I've said it before, but I'm planning on it. So I'm getting a Fluval Flex 9-gallon, and I'm going to stock it with some guppies. I'm going to make it hopefully look nice. I want to breed guppies in it, but I also want it to look nice. I think I might put it in the kitchen. Undecided yet, but hopefully we do that soon. One of these days we'll get over there and we'll pick it up, and I'll get that tank going for you guys, and I'll make that a whole video, a whole episode, and we'll get to breeding some guppies and make some profit that way too. Now there are a lot of things, speaking of profit, there are a lot of things that I want to do and I want to breed. There's a lot of animals I want to keep, and most of those it's just because I enjoy seeing the animal, and I enjoy the animals in general. But as it is a hobby, it is something I enjoy, why not make money off of it? If I'm going to buy a bunch of geckos and keep them, why not make a bunch of money off of it? And that being said, breeding is also another part of the hobby. So I don't just breed just to make money. Breeding out animals is a challenge. It's something I enjoy doing. It's a whole nother step of keeping. It's like, can you breed this? Can you you know, put these traits together and produce all these nice animals? It's literally living art for a lot of people with all the morphs that come out, especially like in ball pythons and leopard geckos. It is living art. I can't wait to produce some Black Knight eclipses. I would love to keep back some female het eclipses. I'll throw a picture over here somewhere of my male Black Knight eclipse, and hopefully I'll get some dark babies from them this year. I'll be splitting clutches with Sam from Sam's Geckos, and any females I get, I'm gonna keep. Well, any females within reason. I'll keep 2 or 3, and anything else, I'll put up for sale. Make a couple $100, easy peasy. And when I say a couple $100, I don't have to sell them for a lot, because they're not going to be pure black like mine is. They're not going to be eclipse. They're going to be het. So they're not going to sell for $2+ grand like a Black Knight eclipse should. But I'll probably make my money back on this return the first year it breeds. You know, it was a $1,400 investment. I took a big risk on this animal. It was such a good price. It was the right buy, but he might not even be able to breed this year. So if we do have to wait till next year, it's gonna suck, because the market value will go down a little bit. And to touch on that too, kind of just going on rants about whatever at this point, but a lot of breeding animals is market values and understanding what's what and what's worth what, and how to treat your customers and get them to pay what you want. And a lot of that derives from focusing on something and sticking with that. You know, if you want to focus with crested geckos, great. If you want to focus with leopard geckos, great. If you want to do a pair of everything, it's a lot harder. You don't know the markets as well if you're trying to know all the markets. And I stick pretty close to crested geckos. They've done good for me in the past, and I think crested geckos will end up being my main staple. But I do enjoy a little bit of everything. And with that, you know, I can know my crested gecko market, but I can invest in other stuff and not worry about getting the most out of it, but making sure I breed quality animals and I get quality breeding stock to start with. And that way, when people come to buy it, they get quality stuff. Quality is a lot better, and I've learned that the hard way. I bought fat tails in the past. They've had underbite, and fat tail babies should go for like 40 to 60. I know some pet stores and some breeders sell them for like 70, 80 bucks. Realistically, if it's your first time breeding and you're not known by anyone, you're not going to get that amount for them. You're going to get, 40 to 60. But mine had crazy underbite. And I kept all the babies together because I didn't plan. I didn't have a rack. I didn't have the money, and I was just hoping, I'll sell all these, buy a new rack. I didn't. I invested more animals because I'm stupid and I like animals. But nevertheless, I couldn't sell the geckos very much because of all the underbite. No one would buy them, so I ended up selling them for 30, 35 each, which is still good, but it's probably about it didn't break me even for all the work I put in and all the food and supplies and the adults. Usually you want to make your money back. This first year of breeding, you want to average making your money back. If you spend $500 on a pair of corn snakes and you raise them up and you put another $300 worth of food, that's $800. And maybe you even already have a rack, so you set $800 on this pair of snakes and you breed them and you get 10 babies. Cool. Now sell them for $100 a piece, and you have $1,000, but you had to pay to take care of those babies and all the food and stuff, and that's breaking even. So at that point, you're basically breaking even. Even if you made your 800, you got a little bit extra for your time and your expenses, and that's breaking even. And the next year, you're gonna make a lot of money because you don't have that initial investment of the breeding stock. And at that point, you can even hold back one of the babies, make a little bit less, and in 3 years, when it's an adult size, you'll have 2 adult females, and your clutch is basically double. But at that point, the market value is going down because you're producing more, and it's a whole thing. I can get into a video about that another day. Maybe tomorrow I'll do. Maybe Monday I'll go into market value animals and investments and all that. I did touch on it a lot, but it could be so many videos. I've been listening to a lot of business podcasts lately, and they really they get me amped up for the breeding season, and hopefully this girl lays eggs. I think that's what I'm really waiting on right now. It'll tide me over till some of my snakes get bigger as gargoyles. I just can't wait. I would like to have a little setup of morning geckos. If that's something you guys would like to see, definitely leave a like. If this video hits 10 likes, I will buy at least a pair of morning geckos very soon. Hopefully. Yeah. And even if it doesn't, it's the initial investment. Of morning geckos are asexual, and they reproduce asexually. The females just lay eggs, and you have a group, they're more likely to lay eggs, and 100% they will just sit there and breed and pay for themselves. I just haven't pulled the trigger on them yet because they're small and they're not worth a ton of money, and I kind of want to focus in on more expensive stuff, but maybe it's something that would be good to bring to a show. Just have a couple morning geckos along with some more expensive animals to get people into the hobby and to get people buying, because it shows people buy less expensive stuff. But anyway, I've been going on nonsense for a while. Hopefully you guys learned something about business or the market or animals or investments or genetics or something. Hopefully you learned something. If you learned something, leave a comment, tell me what you learned. Anyway, I'm James from James Reptiles. This is Steve, my ball python. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure to hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter if you want to see any pictures of my animals. JamesReptiles@gmail.com if you have any questions, and enjoy.